then let's put a pin in that. I want to know the next time when you met, the first time rather, you met Axl. And
oh yeah, I totally remember that.
Okay, so then build up to that point, the last time you met Izzy, since they were together.
Yes.
Okay.
The first time I met Axl had to be the summer of 1982. They showed up. It was him, known as Bill at the time. There was a guy named Paul, and another guy that came with them. He was not a musician. He was just along for the ride. They came at the rehearsals, the garage, the famous garage in the back of Dave's house, his parents. They watched us play. We were introduced, and then they got on our instruments and played a song. And that's when I first met him. That's the first time I heard him sing.
Okay.
I remember, they started a song, this bare bone, primitive song, which was the song they eventually recorded on one of their EPs, Shadows of Your Love.
Okay.
He put his head down and started wailing this scream. It was like a foghorn, I thought, my God, he sings loud. And that was Shadows of Your Love. They did the song, we talked a little bit, and then I didn't see him for a while. And
what was your impression, though, when he was screaming in the foghorn? We were like...
it was so different from what I was into, but I was familiar with that style.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Was there anything different about the style, but you were just familiar?
There was a lot, I don't know if you're familiar with the Australian band that ended up covering Rose Tattoo.
Yeah.
I wrote Nice Boy.
Yeah.
It was even more primitive than AC/DC. It was just this... and him screaming. And when I saw him, eventually a lot of the songs were like that. Okay. It was not yet that technical, inventive riffing that became Appetite for Destruction, the Aerosmith, almost funk-like beats, jungle beats. There was none of that. It was just this straight-ahead wall of sound.
Sure.
And him wailing.
You got to start somewhere. You got to hone your craft.
Exactly.
When you said when they got up to play the instruments, was it just the two of them?
Yeah.
And you're saying Paul Hughey.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, that's what I wasn't
1982.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
And
he eventually was in the band. Yeah, it was his friend from Indiana.
And I knew that he was credited for Shadow of Your Love, as well as Back Off Bitch.
Okay.
And the others. But so when he mentioned that to me, God, it was like, oh my God. Okay, again, back at Guns N' Roses Ground Zero. And I just, the way I imagined it is, he hadn't technically moved there permanently yet.
No.
It was one of the trips out there, I guess, hitchhike, drove, whatever, out there with Paul. And I don't know if Paul went back to Indiana or not, but stepping up to sing one of their earliest songs. I don't know. To me, it's one of the coolest things ever to hear.
That is amazing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what was the next time because you said you hadn't seen him in a while after that first time?
I would see him in clubs. We would hang out outside the Troubadour or the Rainbow. And, he wasn't like a friend. He was an acquaintance. And we had things in common, we loved the English band, The Sweet.
Oh, yeah.
And we loved Queen. We especially talked about Queen and The Sweet. And there was a local band coming up, Wasp, of course.
Blackie Lawless.
Yes. They just came on the scene, drawing crowds right away. And it was so... The backup vocals and the songs were great. So we're like, isn't that great? And we're like, yeah, that is pretty great. And so that was the kind of talk we would have. Yeah.
What did he, because he was still Bill then.
Yes.
I'm trying to create what you clearly remember, which is just amazing. What did he look like? Because you said Izzy had the teased up hair and looked like Nikki Sixx, black. Yeah. What was Bill Bailey? What was his style when you met him?
If you look at those pictures of Rapid Fire, that's pretty much what he looked like. Denim jackets. He didn't have any, maybe he had one tattoo. And his hair was always down, flat and long. And he was really thin. Not as thin as me. I was the thinnest of all. I never heard enough of that shit. You're too skinny. You'd be better looking if you ate. I was like, leave me alone.
Oh, jeez. Everybody was skinny back then. It was like heroin chic, wasn't it?
No, that was before the heroin. Actually, I knew no one did heroin that I knew until
or cocaine
86.
chic or whatever.
That was a lot of cocaine, but
right.
we were kids, so it was like, fuck that, I don't know about the Guns N' Roses guys, but in Shire, there was like beer and that's it,
Not even weed?
Well, we didn't smoke weed. I personally didn't like it, and Dave had this voice to take care of.
Okay.
He had that.
Fair enough.
He wasn't going to ruin his voice.
You never know. Lady Gaga smokes weed, and she...
There you go. But, different strokes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So then I guess let's cross the streams, as it were.
Sure.
So you acquaintances with Axl after you met him. Izzy had left the band, and you again acquaintances at different shows.
Yes.
And then we're back up to the last time you met Izzy.
Yes.
And he's like, "Come over. Axel wants to see you." So
He said he'd love to see you.
Okay.
And I went over there, and there they were. The two things I remember. There were pictures on the wall of Axel with his hair all teased up. That's the first time I ever saw that, and wearing a lot of makeup, as if he had been modeling for somebody. And it really looked cool. He looked like a model or something.
He had pictures of himself up?
Yes.
Like
On the wall.
Like where he just has like a painting of him, like, fighting a bull?
That's me taking the bull by the horns. That's how I handle my business. It's a metaphor.
I get it.
No, it was a painting of him with wearing this.
But I mean, like, are they 3x5s that are on like a mantle?
8x10s.
8x10s, whatever. You have on
Like
your...
a flyer, like a
okay.
Yeah, maybe not all over the place. Maybe like two or three.
I just wanted to know the level of ego-ness at the time. Okay.
Well, maybe it was also a reference, like if you wanted to redo it.
Oh, of course. I'm just trying to be funny and you're ruining it. But...
Oh.
Well, see, one thing about him, he's very familiar. He was very familiar with all kinds of music. Mm-hmm. The glam from the 70s. He knew Gothic music like Bauhaus. That was kind of in the early 80s coming up. They wore a lot of makeup. And, he looked like he was going to dabble with that as well if that's what it took, He could go normal, or he could be this glam image type of guy.
So what was your last interaction with Axel?
The last interaction.
Or was that it?
No. He, when Guns N' Roses started picking up steam in 1986, Izzy was like, you see him on stage, but he was nowhere to be seen. Axel went out a lot. He supported other local bands, and he would get up on stage with them, sing songs with them. And
that's great.
Yeah. Shire had dissipated at this point, sort of dissolved. Everybody was doing other things. I was working at a very trendy LA street called Melrose Avenue. You might have heard that. A lot of musicians worked there during the day in clothing stores or whatever. And a lot of people went on Melrose on the weekends and during the week. I met this singer, and we started a band called Motorcycle Boy. Anybody that likes Johnny Thunders, New York Doll style, I would recommend to check out the record. It's probably like $3 on eBay.
Okay.
Motorcycle Boy is still going to this day.
Oh, wow, okay.
They eventually even got signed to a label, and their album was produced by Sylvain of the New York Dolls, and it's good. So I met him, and this was kind of like complete opposite of Shire, and it picked up right away. People would come and see us, because we were on Melrose. Everybody knew him, my singer. And one of the shows I was playing, and I see Axel in the crowd dancing. And he comes up to me after and goes, "I can't wait to tell Izzy that you're in the coolest band in LA." And I thought, wow, thanks, man, cool. And we've seen him another time after that. I thought, well, Axel gets on stage with everybody. I'm going to ask him if he wants to sing with us. And we're doing a Ramones cover again. And we're like, Axel, do you want to sing with us? And he's going, yeah, how does that go? We're sitting here on Fifth Avenue eating chicken vindaloo. So he knew the lyrics already. So we got on stage. We get to the last song. We're like, okay, we have a special guest tonight. And he's gone. He took off. So we're like, okay. Yeah. Oh, I never touched on that. 84, I worked at Tower Video with Axel.
Axel managed Tower Video.
He became the manager eventually.
Did we know this? Is that a thing?
I don't think we've discussed it here, but
did you know this before?
Yeah. He talked about it when he went on
Jimmy Kimmel.
Okay, maybe I missed that part then.
Yeah. He didn't force people to rewind their tapes when they dropped. He said he was very lenient with his staff.
Okay, because I'm picturing not Dante from Clerks, but the other one. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name.
Here comes Rando, he's a berserker.
But okay, so he was your manager?
No, he had not been promoted yet. He was a clerk like me.
Okay.
And Rick Akiyama was also Rick Richards was he got me the job.
Okay.
And I would work there the evening shift, and there was Axel. That's when I got to really know him. Like, he told me some stories. We spent 2 days trying to reconcile empty video boxes with their proper videos down in the basement. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about his growing up and his influences. And he one day he said, I really hate my voice, but I have to admit it's starting to get better. That's what he said. It was interesting because 2 years later, he was going to be like the the most popular band in LA. So
That he hated his voice.
he said that.
Okay, so anything else that stuck? Any other story? Because you mentioned like his growing up. Did he like open up to you? Like was he? What kind of kid was he?
He could. We said he got in a lot of trouble, and he said that he'd been back to Indiana, and I remember this expression that him and his friend were hitchhiking, and some farmer was peppered them, which means put rocks in his shotgun and shot at them.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember that. I remember him saying how lyrics in heavy metal in the early 80s, he said they had become not too significant anymore, and he wanted his lyrics to be more, which, as you can tell, they are,
Yeah.
And a lot of lyrics in heavy metal are either about Dungeons and Dragons or about getting laid, So
Right, yes.
And the music was good, but the lyrics not. You wouldn't just read them.
Right. No, I love Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's Dungeons
It's all about the night and the fire.
Yeah, which is great. But yes, I totally get it.
Yeah. And he mentioned he liked Patti Smith a lot, the
Okay.
punk poet and singer. And he even liked Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen, which I was like, come on, man. And he goes, no, you said to me, to people like me, that song really means something.
What about movies?
I was just going to talk about that. He loved Scarface.
Okay.
He told me, look at that movie, man. That guy never took any shit from anybody. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And he loved Terminator. He was
course.
like, you can't stop that guy. You couldn't stop him.
So
And-
before Terminator
Right.
2, obviously. Okay.
Imagine.
Wow.
And check this out. He got a hold of a bootleg copy somehow of Prince Purple Rain.
Okay.
And we went to Raz's apartment and watched it.
Okay.
And he was totally into that movie. He kept saying to me, look what he's about to do. Look at his moves. He was totally into it.
You could see all the influences of everything you're mentioning.
Yeah.
Scarface to Prince, you could just kind of see Axl, those influences in him a little
You know
bit.
what
It's
movie
funny.
you really like? This is odd, but a remake of the French New Wave classic Breathless with Richard Gere. And the movie had bombed, but he really liked it to the point when customers would come to Tower Video and say, boy, that movie is the worst. And he'd go, yeah, to you. Yeah.
That's great. Is this after recommending the movie to them or something? Or?
No, people would comment on that. They talk about movies, and he was the kind that would not take shit.
That's cool.